Hey folks, it's JK and I'm back today with yet another Skyrim Special Edition build. But today's episode is quite special because this build is being done as part of a collaboration with BadCompanySarge, ThePixelArrowProductions and ShadowPenguin. They'll produce really high quality builds and post them to their YouTube channels, and today we are each recreating one of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse in Skyrim. You'll be able to find their builds, Death, War, and Pestilence by clicking the links in the description or the cards at the end of the video. But so, let's get on with my Horseman build, Famine. This build will utilize the draining power of Spark Destruction magic along with the powerful Daedric Sword Dawnbreaker to slowly but surely drain every bit of life out of any creature or human being. Some will starve to death, some will slowly bleed until they beg for death on their knees, and Famine will always come out on top. Character creation. Famine will be a Dunmer, which will give him a 50% resistance to fire, along with his racial ability Ancestor's Wrath, which will allow him to damage all nearby opponents with 8 points of fire damage once a day for 60 seconds. We will also start with a few racial skill bonuses that will go great with his playstyle. In terms of Standing Stone, I recommend the Lord Stone. Choosing it will give you 50 points of armor rating and an additional 25% magic resistance. This will be great for Famine as beside his spells he has virtually no armor rating. In terms of attribute spread, you should dump 70% in health to compensate for the lack of armor rating and 30% in magicka for extra casting. Stamina isn't required as Famine is not going to use power attacks. Backstory. Famine was born in a small village near the city of Blacklight, just east of Skyrim's border with Morrowind. His family was poor and they worked a small farm, where they grew just enough crops to feed themselves. His parents were dedicated worshippers of Daedra, and they were always hopeful that their offerings and prayers would help them to become more financially stable. Sadly, their prayers were not answered, and year after year they were losing more and more of their crops. Unable to support Famine any longer, his parents eventually told him to hit the road and make a living for himself. They advised him to head to Skyrim's oldest city, Windhelm, where a lot of other fellow Dunmer live. Famine took their words of advice and went straight to Windhelm, no stops on the way. But once he arrived, he knew he had made a bad decision. The city was filled with racist Nords, and he only got the hardest jobs available for little to no pay. He slept under a tent he made out of old fabric and ate whatever scraps he could find on the streets. This went on for a while, and he felt stuck and helpless, unknowing what to do in such a situation. Using his vulnerability, the Daedric Princess Merdia came to him in his sleep and told him to go to her shrine, located southwest of Skyrim's capital, Solitude. He woke up next to a large coin pouch and he knew what he needed to do. He bought supplies and he made his way towards the shrine of Merdia, expecting to find something to give his life purpose. When he arrived there, Merdia spoke to him. She told him to spread famine and despair all over Skyrim, to show the Nords that they should never have stopped worshipping her. He was driven by a mutual hatred towards the Nords to do the very task, and he accepted. Merdia blasted him with her powerful Daedric Sword Dawnbreaker that Famine will now use to spread her will across Skyrim. Famine will now use the most scummy tactics to take down his enemies. He will enjoy watching his foes slowly bleed or burn until they get on their knees and beg for mercy. He will burn crops on farms and he will pick every last pocket for anything valuable, making the Nords just as miserable as they made him. He will join the Thieves Guild to join up with the only group of people in Skyrim who can come close to his level of scumminess. He will also join the Dark Brotherhood, which will not only grant him his mighty steed, Shadowmere, but it will also allow him to learn more about how to stalk and slowly kill his victims. He will obviously do Merdia's Daedric quest at her temple. He will also travel to Solstheim to experience the ashen field of his homeland once more, while still being able to make Nords suffer in the process. Skills and perks. Straight to the point. Famine's main skills will be Destruction, Illusion, Sneak, Pickpocketing, Lockpicking, One-Handed, and Light Armor. Now to list off all of the perks for each of the skills and name their purpose. In the Destruction skill tree, take all perks from Novice to Master Destruction to be able to cast even the most powerful shock spells. Then, take both levels of Augment and Shock to get the most damage out of shock spells, and then lastly take the right branch up to Impact to make sure you do as much damage as possible, even when dual casting. In the Illusion skill tree, only take the bare minimum perks to be able to get Quiet Casting. Quiet casting will allow you to use even your destruction spells without instantly getting detected. In the sneak tree, unlock every perk available to get the lowest detection rates and the highest sneak attack bonuses. This will allow you to get a few, if not all, of the enemies killed before they even realize you are there. In the pickpocketing tree, also unlock every perk for maximized pickpocketing chance and rewards, but also for being able to plant poisons and drain the life out of your enemies. In the one-handed tree, unlock Armsman, all 5 levels of it, to get an extra 100% damage with your trusty sword, and then unlock Bladesman 3 times for a lot of critical hit damage to help you in combat. In the lockpicking tree, get all of the perks so you'll be able to break into anywhere and steal every last bit of food and every last precious bit of jewelry from the Nords. In the light armor tree, unlock Agile Defender 5 times for all the armor rating you could squeeze out of your boots, helmet and gloves, and leave the other perks as they will be no use to you because they rely on you having a fully matched set of light armor, which Famine will not have. Equipment and companions. In terms of equipment, Famine will carry the Daedric Sword Dawnbreaker, gifted to him by Merdia herself in his right hand, and wield a shock destruction spell in his left hand to drain health and magicka from enemies. He will also be able to dual cast destruction spells when the need arises. Along with all of that, he will additionally be able to cast spells to give him magic armor when he needs it. For his physical armor, Famine will simply wear some light armor boots and gloves to get some extra protection, and some ragged robes to show how poor and starved he is, mainly for the aesthetic. Into battle, Famine will sometimes ride his trusty steed, Shadowmere, gifted to him by the Dark Brotherhood, truly making him a horseman. Shadowmere also might be able to fight for him, removing the need for companions altogether. So, that concludes this build. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you want to see the rest of the Horseman builds from BadCompanySarge, ThePixelArrowProductions, and ShadowPenguin, then you can find links for those in the description or on the cards in the outro. Thanks for watching folks, and I'll see you in the next video.